purposes, of course, is to give people who are still in the hospital a chance to see people who are already out in the
Sure.
real world, and to gain some of their experiences. So, along those lines, would you have any thoughts that you might tell somebody that's still facing a new injury and a whole life ahead of them?
Sure. Well, if there's a good time, every decade, I'm going on my third. I'm 27 years injured, and a goal that I made when I was still in rehab was that I was going to walk before I died. And I figure I've still got another 20 years or so to go, and so maybe I'll meet that goal. But it's become less important to me than being a productive member of society, and I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I can impact the lives of thousands of people around the world. But I would say that if I was writing a memoir or something, the word that I would never use is "I can't." You know, I think that what people with disabilities should say is something like, it'll be difficult for me to do this task, or maybe it'll take a lot longer than I want to spend. But my particular choice, I had hand surgery 26 years ago. I had a tendon transfer, where they take your brachioradialis from your tendon and hook it up to your thumb, because I wanted to be independent and others, and I wanted to be as independent as possible, and I needed some kind of a pinch. Now, in retrospect, I think I'd be as almost as independent without that thumb pinch. I've met a couple of C5 quads that are completely independent and do cooking. In fact, one guy in mind is a former Paralympian and travel around the world. He lives in Santa Cruz, actually, and the fact that he's a C5 quad didn't seem to interfere. And I would say that to somebody that's newly injured, you know, that put as much effort as you can into being independent, because it adds a lot to your self-esteem, and you feel satisfaction. And even if you're not completely independent, every task that you can do, you can feel pride in doing that task, and it tends to springboard into a general attitude, well, if I can take care of myself, or even if you're not independent, you have a caregiver, then that's kind of a management skill that you can use in the business world. Obviously, if you're good at your attendant care management, then those kind of communication skills help you in the business world. So, you know, I'd say, you know, one thing people talk about, I can't walk. And I would say that technically I can walk. If you give me long leg braces and electrical stimulations and stuff, I could stand up and I could hobble forward or backwards. So, again, the word I would not use is I can't. So it might be difficult. And so that's one thing I would share for anybody newly injured, is it might take longer. I mean, I've met people that it took them 5 years until they're ready to join the real world, or 3 or 4 years to start driving. I was unusual because I was older. I didn't get injured until I was 31, actually, and so I had some additional life experiences, and you know, was a successful motorcycle racer and a cabinet maker and architect and all that stuff. But somebody younger has got more energy than somebody older. So, and one nice thing about being young is that you don't realize how difficult things can be. So you just kind of forge ahead.